Welcome to the Live Wild podcast with me, Hilary Rose. Live Wild is all about living your best life, and my next guests certainly know how to do just that. Kev and PJ are best known as the Cork podcast duo, I'm Grand Mam. These lads are just gorgeous. They are full of fun and love and laughs, but they're not afraid to shy away from the tough stuff in life as well. We talk about the origins of their podcast, living in London, being grand, and the wildest things they've ever done.
And then when I moved to in with PJ and we go out and we go to the gay clubs and I was like, I'm thriving. I was like, this is the life I imagined.
Yeah, I was the exact same. Like when Kevin moved, because he moved in and kind of lived on my couch for a bit, and like it was literally that sense of home, and like we'd be so there for each other, and it was a time where both of us were really exploring what it is to be queer as well. So we were like, we'd be there for each other, like when we're going to clubs and stuff, we'd be like, oh Jesus, I never knew the queers did that or whatever. And like, we had the debriefs then over brunch and stuff, and we really did, like, we were there for each other, because it is scary in like the big smoke, like.
When I lived with PJ, or before I lived with PJ, I'd always be like, sometimes, you'd be checking yourself before a night out, and I'd be thinking, oh, do I look a bit too gay or whatever? When I moved in with PJ, the thing was, I'm like, oh, do I look gay enough? So we were going out, I was like, I don't look gay enough. I was like, make me look gayer. That was the vibe.
You can find out more about them on Instagram at I'm Grand Mam, or you can listen to their hilarious podcast, I'm Grand Mam. I loved this chat, I really did. It was great fun, but we also bizarrely got straight into talking about funerals. PJ chatted about losing his dad at an early age. I had just lost my own dad a few months before recording this, and sadly, since then, Kev lost his dad. So, with that in mind, I spoke with the lads and we all agreed that we wanted to dedicate this episode of our podcast to all our dads. So this is dedicated to PJ's dad, Pat, Kev's dad, Jerry, and my own dad, Jim.
Oh my word, it is Kevin and it is PJ from I'm Grand Mam podcast. Thank you so much for coming on the Live Wild podcast today. I've been really looking forward to this chat, so thanks a million, guys.
Oh, no bother, we're weak.
Hilary, we're delighted to be here, love.
I first met you when actually I was invited to do your podcast, which is I'm Grand Mam. And if you haven't heard it, then you're going to have to tune into it, because it is massively successful and it is one of the funniest podcasts I've ever heard. So there's good reason for its success. But I was asked to do your podcast at a music festival down in Cork. And so on the way down, right, you're going to have to forgive me for this. On the way down, I was like, I haven't heard their stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Right. So we were driving down, myself and my husband, and we put on the episode when you guys went on holidays to Spain.
Good old sunny saloon.
Oh, my word. And I was like, I haven't laughed this much in years. Like, it was
really
so funny. And like, I worked in comedy for a long time, but I was like, that is so funny. And Peter was the same. He's like, that is really funny stuff. So I knew going in to do the interview with you guys that it was going to be the crack, and it was absolutely gorgeous, and I totally fell in love with you. And I was like, and you kind of sprung a question on me during the interview, because you had gone through the blog, which I have, which is the Live Wild blog. And shamelessly plug, it's livewild.ie. But it's like I'm plugging on my own podcast.
Yeah.
Like, this is completely shameless. So you brought it up and you were like, I feel like it's going to go somewhere. Where is it going? And I was like, because I had been planning. I can't remember if I said it at the time, but I kind of had been planning the podcast. And I don't know if I said it live or not, but this is what has come of it anyway. So I was like, I got to get those guys on. They knew.
Yeah, we're weak that you asked us, because we were living for the blog. I was living for the barefoot walks.
Have you tried them?
I'm in Dublin now. I'd be whipping off when I'm on the beach. Obviously, the beaches are kind of barefoot anyway. But like when I'm in the woods, I took off my feet a few times. You do feel very grounded when you get the feet out.
Isn't it unreal?
I shouldn't be getting my toes out anywhere in public because they're rotten looking.
He's fungal infection. I thought the fungal infection was cleared.
Oh, it's gone since the barefoot walks. There you go.
Isn't it one of the toes still has it?
No, that's just the way that toe looks.
And the thing is, I can't do a barefoot walk over here in London because God knows when I'd be stepping on the woods over here. Or what I'd come across all the cruisers.
All the cruisers, you'd be snapping on used condoms.
And they'd be thinking I'm getting ideas with my shoes and socks already off.
And add your foot fetish on top of that, and there you go.
Yeah, this guy's ready. It's like condoms stuck in your toes.
Yeah.
As you're walking through the streets of London. But it really works. I find I sleep really well after a barefoot walk. Like, I mean, there's nothing can wake me after that. It's like taking a sedative.
Yeah, well, I'm on this weird section of TikTok at the moment, and it's all about being barefoot in your daily life. And like, I'm loving like that, because now I'm like shoes are cages and all this stuff. But then I'm like walking down this like in the centre of Dublin, and I'm like, I can't really be barefoot here. Like people will be like running away from me.
I have gone into shops. Huh?
Start the trend.
That's it. Be the change you want to see.
Yeah.
It's more like my feet would be manky, would they? Like dirty.
Well, kind of. They get really tough though. The feet, like the feet get tough, so they're fine. But like I've walked into shops in barefoot, like kind of not really thinking, and they've been like, right, well, I think actors are expected to be a bit weird anyway. You know, like, oh, it's an actor. It's
like I'm just being a quirky actor coming in barefoot.
I'm going method. Yeah. I'm pretending to be a bear.
So, like on the podcast and like all the stalking that I've done on your Instagram, you always seem like you're in great form and everything is great crack. And you really like, you exude this gorgeous joy and happiness all the time. I'm going to ask the question. Are you happy like that all the time?
No, we're depressed. No, I'm joking. We're not.
Yeah,
but like obviously there's light and shade to everyone, and we get like feel I can only speak for myself obviously, but like I feel anxious and like I get down and stuff, but I suppose it's just the way you deal with it and look at it. There's sometimes where like, especially when I was living with Kevin, he'd come home and I'd be like this, like I'd be like, I'm depressed off my head, but like instead of being like wallowing and like I'd be like making jokes about being depressed. Which probably, I don't know if that like, this might be the healthiest way to deal with it.
All the therapists listening are going,
yeah, but like if something like even like take example like jump straight on the deep end, like when my dad died when I was 20, right? Obviously I just moved to London, like really traumatic experience. I love when I say that, and Kevin goes from like this and he goes really smiling.
I just started checking my phone with me like this.
Goes serious face, he goes serious expression. No, but like when
that happened, we'll talk about that. Go on.
But when that happened, like it's like that was like obviously one of the most traumatic things that happened because I just moved to London and stuff. And then the way we were dealing with that was like we were taking the piss out of each other at a funeral. We were like telling jokes, and I just think that's just the way like I've learned to deal with like the light and shade of life, basically, which sounds a bit wanky, but like growing up. And I think Kevin's the same, and I think that's why we bond about it, because we both deal with it in the similar ways. Am I right in saying that?
Definitely. Also, there was a certain sense of like an onus on us, we felt, especially when we were recording in lockdown. Like I was in foul humor when lockdown started. I know people are saying, oh, I'm loving, isn't the break lovely, and oh, isn't it so nice to have a bit of respite and a bit of downtime. I was allergic from the get-go. I did a week and I said, I'm never going to last. I was like, I'm never ever going to last. And I remember PJ tried to get us to go to this like online party that a place in East London were organising, and I walked into the room and it was like a Zoom party, and I just went, PJ, absolutely not. I said, it's all pretend fun, and I said I can't handle it. So that was the first time I think I really did struggle, because we were still recording episodes weekly, and there was days where I was like, PJ, I'm not in the humour. I was like, if I come on here and just like chat about how much of a bad time I'm having, I was like, it's just going to bring a different energy. But like, we are quite transparent and I suppose quite candid in the podcast as well. So if there are weeks when we are recording that we are a bit off, we kind of let it be known. But once we kind of warm into it, like as PJ said, we kind of get off on taking the piss out of each other, and it's not long before like our moods are lifted.
Yeah, and I think that's such a gorgeous approach, because it always feels to me as well that your podcast is so off the cuff, and you can see your friendship is so genuine and the connection you have is so deep that you're able to do that. You're able to go into the light and the dark, and it's really important. That's what friendships do, particularly at like these times of need, when you're talking like PJ about losing your dad. Like that's so rough, you know, it's so rough, and it is such a game changer to lose a parent. And I love that you were saying that you were like kind of taking the mick at the funeral and stuff. Like I lost my dad recently as well and did the same thing, you know, and it was as hardcore as it is in that moment, humor really lifts it. And I didn't, and like, okay, like I've worked in comedy for so long, and so I knew that, but I'd never been in that position in that moment, thankfully. Where it was such a heavy, dark moment, and it really lent on the humor. And it was thanks to my uncles just making amazingly ridiculous jokes in the church and in every scenario the whole way through. And it was brilliant. It really helped. It was really brilliant.
It's literally like that. It's that saying, like, if you're not laughing, you're crying, like, and obviously you need to cry it out too. And we're team cry, like, but like it is like you do need to have a bit of that. And as well, I always think, like, I don't know, your dad or my dad would probably have loved to have that laughter there. Like, he obviously
100%.
Now, at my funeral, I will want a few people crying and like wailing and like regretting that I'm not there anymore. But like, I want a few.
I don't want anyone laughing at mine, to be honest. I want everyone sobbing, inconsolable. I want to hire a few criers. I'm going to hire a few actors from London to fly over for the wedding.
Oh my God, what else would your funerals look like? And this isn't planned at all, but this is actually such an amazing thing. Like, how old will you be? Set the scene for us. What will you have achieved?
That I don't, if you know the way everyone kind of gathers for the funeral, so people you haven't seen in ages, I kind of still want to be looking stunning. So I've always said that I'll do a holiday before the death, get a nice kind of base and stuff, because I don't really want the makeup and stuff kind of happening. And then I want to be laid out in green because I do suffer from the rosacea and I think it's very complimenting on my skin tone. So like bits like that, I'm also like, because I like grew up like doing musical theatre and stuff, I'm going to be very particular about the song set list. You know what I mean?
Tell
and
us.
who's singing and stuff. I just feel like, I don't know, I you know Cynthia Erivo? Are you a fan? Cynthia Erivo? Take a look at her stuff if you're not. She does a cover of Ariana Grande's One Last Time. And I want that as I go down.
Awesome.
Stunning. Would you be buried? We done a whole episode on funerals, but our minds change all the time. So like we like planned our funerals in this episode, but like since then my like tastes have changed. So I'm up to 90 about writing a will, because like what if by the time like I change my mind from week to week, so I'll do a will and then the next week I'll be like, oh no, I actually don't want that anymore.
You'll have to just do it as notes in your phone. And just
update it.
Exactly. If you can update a will to the cloud, surely someone has thought of that so far. Surely be to God.
Is Kevin frozen for you drinking the water?
He's just taking a really long drink, it looks like.
Kevin's frozen, taking a sip out of a Chili's bottle, and it's like, screenshot that and get that sponsor.
I had an idea for my own funeral, right? Oh, he's gone.
Just me and you.
He's gone. Well, I'll tell you about my idea for the funeral until he comes back in. This is really random, okay? So I saw this thing before and it was a tree pod, okay? So what you do is when you die, they put you into like this little pod, okay? And they plant a sapling tree into the top of the pod. And then you get buried. Like they plant the tree in a forest where you're, I mean, I think there has to be specific places where you could bury people in forests. I don't think
it won't be down in Fitzgerald's Park or anything.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be out in Kirby Woods anytime soon, just in case there's like the, historical bones found in like 10 years'
There you are,
time.
Hilary. Stop climbing up Hilary. Get off her.
But you get planted into the pod and then it gets planted, and then obviously like this sounds random, but your decaying body nourishes the tree as it grows.
That's gorgeous though.
Isn't it cool?
It's giving like cool. Lion King, like you become the land kind of vibe, you know, just giving like the Lion King. I've heard of that before as well, and I was like, isn't that beautiful? That's like kind of the circle of life, and it moves us all.
I think it is too. Oh, he's coming back.
Was he?
He's coming back. Coming in hot. I think he'd be like, what were you talking about? I think it is too. I love the thought of like we're still on the top. We're back. We're still on the topics of funerals.
Yeah. Well,
that's why I left. I found it all a bit more, but I said I'm off.
Just to catch you up, Hilary obviously wants to be buried and become a tree, but we knew that already, didn't we?
Oh yeah, that was pretty obvious.
We knew that from the minute we saw you, that you want to become a tree when you pass.
I was saying that you get this pod thing, your body gets put in this pod and the tree is like planted in the top of it, and then they plant the tree, and then like your decaying body nourishes the tree and you turn into a forest. Your face, I don't think it's for you.
I think if I could be selective over the forest where I'm being planted, I'd be fine.
Well, that was the other thing, because we were saying I think there has to be some kind of regulations as to where you can be buried. I don't think it's going to be like PJ said in Fitzgerald's Park or like Kirby Woods or somewhere. I think it's going to have to be in a proper like burial ground, which has just got trees. This is it might be one of my life's ambitions, perhaps, before I pop my clogs to go.
That'd be good. I also heard, and like we probably should move on from death because everyone will be like bawling crying. But you can also get like cremated and pressed into a diamond.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I want that.
You're
Change
very
my
that.
mind. I want to be in a diamond.
And they put you around my neck.
And put me in my sugar daddy's ring. And he's going to go around and tell everyone.
Babe, he'll be gone before you if he's your sugar daddy.
And that's what I was about to say.
Under suspicious circumstances.
I think what I might do is I might fake a death first so I can get out of it and then get a load of like life assurance bits.
Okay, gorge.
And then the diamond. So whose diamond are you going to be wearing? Oh, okay, we need to move on from the funeral stuff. Definitely. So getting back to the happiness one, who you're going to have to tell tales on each other now.
Okay.
Who's the grumpy one? Oh.
I would say I'm more of a morning person, P. Bear with me.
Okay.
Bear with me. I would say I'm more of a morning person. I'll be the person, I think PJ would be less inclined to tell me if I was pissing him off. If PJ's annoying me for even a minute, I'd be like, you're wrecking my head straight out. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I feel like we're very much on a similar, we're actually disgusting in the sense that because we know each other so well and we were living together for so long and we were doing everything together. We were working together. We were partying together. Like there was a time where I'd be in the bathroom and I'd be going for number 2 and PJ be coming in brushing his teeth. It was all a bit weird. So we know each other really well.
That's not weird. That's just friendship. I do that to anyone.
I know, but you do it with your partner, I feel. But like, I think sometimes I think outsiders would perceive it as a bit much. You know what I mean? But
I would take a wee in front of anybody.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'd wee in front of someone. Yeah. But some people might be a bit funny about number 2. But I think we're very much like, especially when we're together, we can kind of sense the mood of the other person and we can kind of adapt ourselves around that. You know what I mean? And like sometimes if I know PJ's in the mood, sometimes I might actually want to trigger him even more. I might want to kind of rev him up a bit. But like, so I know some like when to leave it and stuff or when to pull back.
Take a step back from the fire.
No. Objection. Just coming back in on that morning person thing. I'd come down the stairs and they'd be like, good morning. And Kevin's like, can you just not talk to me until I finish my breakfast?
No, post brekkie, I'm fine.
Yeah, that's post morning. I think I'm better in the morning than you.
I'm in great humor in the mornings, but I don't know about you, Hilary. I love I think it's one of life's most gorgeous, simple pleasures. A breakfast in absolute silence. A breakfast in silence.
But anyone can be like a great crack in the morning when
you're roaring now. You're roaring now. You're very loud now. You're disturbing my breakfast. But you know what I mean? In absolute silence.
I like everything in silence.
Oh. Yeah. I think he's right though. It's like we can read each other's moods. So I know when Kevin's like getting like annoyed or like grumpy, or if I feel like, oh, it's not the time to like talk to him about something, I'd can sense it.
PJ used to do this thing where, and it used to actually convince me that I'd be in a bad mood because he'd always go, are you all right there? And he'd always just say like that. And I'd be like, oh, I'm fine. Or we'd be recording or doing something. And he'd be like, are you all right there? I'm not sure about the vibes. And I'd be like, stop asking me if I'm all right because you're making me paranoid and you're making me think
you see,
you're making me not all right.
I'm an empath, you know, and I can just feel it. You know what I mean? I can feel it and I just can't move on then. I'm always like, we can't fake it. They'll know fake it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that as well. I like the fact that if you're sensing it and you can't do, like, I find it hard to do surface chat sometimes, especially in the last couple of years. I think it's a skill that has just completely diminished to me. I'm just like, nah, let's get straight in there. What's the problem? Okay, you know, I'm like,
what's your childhood trauma? Let's unpack it. You know.
Yeah. We went straight into funerals at the top of this podcast.
There you go.
So I was reading an article that you guys, like, the podcast kind of started almost kind of as a joke, almost off the cuff. Like, you were just like, oh, let's do a podcast. Yeah, okay, fine, no problem. And then it just kind of happened and then it snowballed. Tell us the origin story of it.
Do you want to go, Kev?
As I hold up your mug.
Yeah. We had just moved in together to a house in Stratford in East London, and we had both been home that Christmas, and I got back and we were both auditioning for things. We both have like a background in like dance and musical theatre, and we kind of felt that like we were both kind of working, you know, full-time jobs ourselves, kind of Monday to Friday. I was in a restaurant, PJ was doing marketing stuff, and I was like, we kind of wanted to get our hands into something creatively, and we had played with the idea before of doing an Irish themed queer club night over here, because one thing we found, as much as like we love going out, we sometimes found that everyone was a bit serious on a night out, and it was a bit posy, and people were getting the pics, which obviously when we go out, we're getting the pics as well. Like, don't you fret. But at the same time, we were like, we want like something that's a bit more Irish nuanced. You know what I mean? A bit more about the crack. And then we were like, wait, we know nobody in the entirety of London, nobody's going to come. It would be just our friends. And even still, we couldn't even rely on them to be coming because they were all broke at the time as well. So then we I just had this idea. I was like, would we ever start a podcast? Because we loved having like pre-drinks at our house, and we love kind of hosting. People like said to us before, especially if they met us, like, if they were like newly meeting us, they would say, oh geez, you're like a double act kind of thing. So I think we kind of leaned into that. And then PJ and myself headed off to Budapest for PJ's birthday in January. And then we'd mentioned it once or twice before, but then when we were on the flight together, we were like, let's just plan it. And we got a pen from the air hostess, and we wrote on the back of a sick bag, and we just were like, you know, what's our ideal first episode going to look like? And then, you know, as they say in French, the rest is history. C'est l'histoire.
I love it. I love that it just came about that way. Like, did you ever expect it to be as successful as it has become?
Not like literally not at all. We thought like after the first episode that like our friends would listen, or mams would listen. And then but then we had people messaging us, like I was like, Kevin, do you know her? And he was like, no. I was like, oh my God, someone new. And then we were like, I remember even like on our Instagram, we made like an I'm Grand Mam Instagram, because we were like, oh, we just want to like have like a place where we can see the teasers for the podcast and stuff like that. And like I think we got like 100 followers or something, and we were like freaking out, and we were like putting up thank yous and everything, being like, thanks so much. And it was like so cute. And then we were just like, okay, what are we going to do for episode 2 now? Because we didn't expect like people to start listening. Even in the first episode, we're like, what are we going to do? I don't know. And basically the first episode, if you listen to it, is us just planning what the podcast is going to be about. We're like, and then we're even like, who's going to sponsor us? And no one was even listening to us.
We were speaking about the Y Company. We were speaking about Oatly Milk sponsoring us. Now, none of the above have actually been in touch since.
Yes. That's, you got to finish that one yet.
They couldn't afford us now, girl.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. So, like I've watched some of the clips online as well, right? And there's one, so you have this new section, and the section is where people write in and tell you about their housemates.
Oh yeah.
And the guy with the blow dryer.
I know.
I mean, tell us a bit more about that. I was watching that going, surely be to God. How? What?
That we have a Patreon, which is like a service where people can like pay for extra episodes, and on that we do another podcast called Don't Tell Mam, and it's all like more like risque stuff. So and in that we talk about like sometimes it's risque, sometimes it's just a bit like the housemate stories, and we done like an episode on horrible housemates. And this fella, what was it, Kev? Again, the housemate, the girl who she was living with, boyfriend, used to dry himself top to toe when he was naked with a blow dryer, and then she couldn't come into the room until he was done because it was calming for him.
It was something like he suffered from anxiety, and that was how he liked to relax, was to blow himself in the hair.
I just think that is just hilarious. Also, PJ used to find it strange when we were living together that I used the hairdryer to dry myself all over. I think it's actually quite clever. And sometimes I won't even need it for my hair, but like, you know, when you get out of the shower and you're a bit, it's lovely to have so I can nearly relate to your man. I think it's lovely to have a blast of, it was actually me. I had written in.
You'd sent it into yourself.
But like, fair enough whatever you need to deal with your anxiety, like obviously, but like, why are you doing it in the communal space? And why is it a thing like, you can't,
that was the thing.
They were like, you can't go into that room because my boyfriend's naked, drying himself with a hairdryer. Like, I'd be
in the
like,
sitting room
what?
On the couch.
Yeah. And as well, I'm like, wait, he's sitting, so his bare ass is on our communal couch where I like lie my head when I'm hungover. You know what I mean?
That's hot.
But also, like, whatever about the stories that people have sent in, imagine the stories that people can't send in. That's what fascinates me. I'm like, okay, I get up to weird stuff. Yeah, I do get up to weird stuff. No, I don't dry myself with a hairdryer. I don't. But like, there's plenty of other stuff that I do. Like I did naked sunbathing recently. I was like, I gotta get this out. I gotta get the whole thing out. And I was like, yes. And it was like completely private, or so I thought. And I was like, the sun was shining down on me. I was like, oh, I feel like a goddess. This is really good for me. It's going to recharge me. And then I stood up and realized there was security cameras around. And I was like, oh.
Yes. On the front of the Evening Echo, Hilary Rose, exhibitionist, streaks around the towns of Cork.
Loves jogging.
It's not the first time I've been caught weeing on camera so many times.
Really?
Because I have no problem weeing outdoors. I wee outdoors all the time. I kind of like it, I'll be honest with you.
Love that for you.
And I'm just like, I gotta go. Like, and I drink a lot of water, so, and I got caught on camera weeing. Like, I don't know where that footage is gone, but I just know if it ends up online, I'll know where it came from. I'll know the location. I'll know where it came from, and I will.
But as well, if oh my god, you'd be like, yeah, I needed to pee. Like what? Like where did we pee before? Like we built these toilets in our garden. Like we used to just piss anywhere before. You know what I mean?
I will say there was a toilet close by, but I chose not to use the toilet.
Brilliant.
Go for it. As long as it's not on like a statue or like a public building.
But on Sunbathing naked. Sorry, go on, Kev. You book with that.
Well, that's what I was saying. I think there's no issue with it now. I struggle to pee full stop in public because I need some kind of a frame. Like I can't use urinals in a toilet. I need the cubicle. Yeah, I'm one of those. Just stage fright. I don't know. And something to do with growing up gay, I'm guessing.
But you were getting better. You were doing it a few times. I was so proud of you at a few events. You were at the urinal.
Also, I used to be able to do when I was younger, and I just unlocked a core memory. And there was actually a time when I was younger, and I was peeing up at the urinal, and it was at the time, when you were in like primary school, and then lunchtime everyone would go to the jacks, so like the jacks were kind of overcrowded. And I remember it was like one of the long urinals, and one of the lads turned and pissed on my leg. Now it was by accident, but I remember I think that was probably the last time I probably did it.
Back in his territory. Well, obviously,
when he was like, "What?" and just turned around.
That's a traumatic memory.
That's what happened.
The process.
Well, guys, I'm so glad we're getting it all out here in this therapy session, which will be publicly aired.
Yeah, brilliant. Whatever, you know what I mean. But on Sunbathing Naked, I read a thing before about there was like a trend where people was like exposing their like bum hole to the sun because apparently it like charges your body or something.
Apparently so. I mean, I felt good after it.
Yeah, would you have to put SPF on it? Like, you want to get burned. You know what I mean?
I didn't put an SPF on, but I did. It was more of the evening sun, which was a little bit gentler.
Okay.
Is there anything nicer than the evening sun, Hilary?
Yeah.
It's those last 2 hours, and people, especially when you're on holidays, and people are like, "Oh, we'll go back for our nap, before we get ready to go out, and we have the bag of lays." It's those last 2 hours of sun.
It's unreal because the day has warmed up. So like there's like the heat has permeated everywhere and anything you sit on or touch is just warm and sunny and relaxed. Oh, I love it. You
get the most reading done as well. So is there a chakra in the bum? Is that what they're saying? Is there a chakra in the bum?
Well, it's your root chakra, yeah.
Oh, there. It would be there.
Yeah, so the root is right down underneath. Like it's your root. It's the very root of you. And then there's the Earth Star chakra, which goes further down into the earth. It's below your feet.
Oh, gorgeous.
There you go.
And we were in Barcelona, and we were on a nude beach, and they were just all walking around naked, and I was loving it. All the old ones were just like getting the baps out, and all the lads were just swinging around. I was loving.
It's amazing.
No, I wasn't because I was up to 90, but like they were.
I went to a wedding, one of my closest friends' wedding, and she got married in Nurka in Spain.
Oh, gorgeous. I was at a wedding in Nurka before.
Kevin's personality is a wedding that he went to Nurka one day.
In the small church in the centre of the square.
Well, no. So she's decided to get married down the beach and set up this beautiful little like canopy with all flowers and chairs, and the after party was on the beach and we were all there with our shoes off and it was unreal. And then the wedding was like taking place and we were like, oh my God, this is amazing, because it was the sunshine and outdoors and everything. And then we were all like, and obviously they don't close off the beaches to the public because it is a public area. So like there was people drifting in behind the wedding kind of looking at what's going on, and we were like, they have no clothes on. It was a nudist beach.
Glorious.
Brilliant.
It was so awesome. So there's like photographs of all of us going,
love.
All the nanas didn't know where to look.
It was so brilliant.
They were having a great time.
They had a ball.
Is it Nurka some spot?
It's gorgeous. Really
oh my
gorgeous.
God, get me back there quick.
Yeah,
I need
it's
to
really
go.
cool.
It is. It's lovely, P. You'd love it.
It's very, very nice.
It's a bit more chill, but the food and stuff and everything is lovely.
You need to work for the Spanish Tourism Board, babe.
I do really, don't I?
You do. You're plugging Salou the whole time, and now you're on about Narca. You need to get
I
that
think
going.
you need to go on a holiday together and record another podcast of what goes down in Narca. It'd be a very different one.
We were going to do like for one of the seasons like a travel podcast and just boot around the gap. That's because we didn't really know what we wanted to do in life, and we were like, oh, we'll just do that for 6 months.
That would be awesome. That would be really, really cool.
We probably could.
Absolutely. Get back to can we get back to the title of the podcast, which is I'm Grand Mam. Do you want to name your mams and give them a shout out?
Yeah. So hello, Nuala Kirby. Love ya. I was only with her 2 days ago, so she's sick of me.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my mum.
My mum's Phil Twomey, short for Philomena, the youngest of 7, Dylan's class.
Wow.
We love you to bits, Phil.
She's like myself. But yeah, they're our mums, and we're a week for them. They actually have a slot on the podcast now, so they do an agony aunt section every week where listeners write in like if they need mammy advice, and they come back to them, and it's so cute because like they come in from 2 different perspectives as well, and then also they're just giving them like such lovely wholesome advice. Me, Kevin, love it.
Yeah, my mum gets so stressed out about it.
My mum does too. She like writes out her replies on a notepad, and she like reads it out back to the recording.
But
that is adorable. That's absolutely adorable. That's one of the nicest things that I've heard, because I remember when we did the interview, when you guys interviewed me, excuse me, for the podcast, you were like, oh, we adore our mums, and I was like, that is just like to have kids in your life that are grown up that still say that is really cool, because like my kids are really, really small, so I'm like, well, they'll probably hate me at some point, which is fair enough, that's fine, but as long as they come back to it,
yeah, I know they will. They'll be like 2 years when they'll probably will never hate you, but like we'll just be a bit, you probably want to be like, oh, why did I do it? You probably want to like throw them out for a bit.
I actually never went through the phase of like being like, oh, it's not cool to like my mum. I was always clung to her. Like
I was the same.
When I was moving to London, like one of the things was I was like, I'm actually going to move away from my mum. I was in a bad way over it. And I remember she moved over with me. Well, she came over for the day I was moving over, and she was getting a flight back that night. And then she had written a letter for me for when I was like moving over, to be like, proud of you, etc. And she was giving it to me as she was getting on the coach. And I said, you need to take that back to Ireland with you. I said, because it's going to break me. I said, I'll read it in a few weeks once I've settled in, because I was like, I am not going near that letter.
Oh.
And then she took it back. And then I kind of was getting on great in London. It was when I went home then at half term or midterm, whatever we call it. And I was like, where is that letter? Because I was like, I'm actually grand now. And I said, I think I've been in a position to read it. She said, oh no, I got rid of that. She goes, I've been that. She goes, I think I got rid of it in the airport. But then subsequently, like 3 years later, she found it and it was gorgeous.
Oh,
because mums love their boys. I mean, they love all their kids. They love their boys and girls, but there's a special connection with the boys, isn't there? Definitely.
And I think as well, like if you're a young gay fella, you and your mum's connection are like so close. Like majority of the time, obviously we're lucky. Like there's some people whose mums are like, I don't know, homophobic or something disgusting like that. And but like for ones we're really lucky and we're so close to them.
Like even when I was growing up and I had a sister and I had 2 older brothers, but this was when I was like younger, my mum be getting ready on a Saturday night and she'd call me up to ask for the outfit advice and stuff. That was when I was like 10 or 12.
She called you up to be like, work, mom. Yeah.
I used to be like, mom, you were serving and laying the house down boots. We love to see it. No, but I used to go up and she used to ask me, and I think my sister nearly was a bit like, pissed off about it, because she'd be like, Kevin, come up here, and I'd go up and she'd be like, it would be either I'd help her put on a necklace, and then she'd be like, and what about the outfit? And I'd be like, yes,
work.
I love it. So like, I know the podcast is called I'm Grand Mam. Was there ever a time in London where you weren't grand and you weren't telling your mums?
Yeah, I think that's literally the reason why we called it I'm Grand Mam, because it's like no matter if we had like a tin of beans in the cupboard for the week, or like we're like nearly getting evicted from our gaff and our mums rang us, we would always just tell them we're grand, just because like we didn't want them to worry. Like they'd try and get on the next Ryanair flight over if they thought that we were like struggling, or they nearly add fuel, they nearly stress me out then, how I'll be worried about her worrying about me, So no matter what we would say, we'd always say I'm Grand Mam. But there was, especially the first, for me anyway, the first like I'd say about 5 years really in London. It was as well because I got there and like I was like going over to go to a dance college, like we'd done a fundraiser in Cork to do it. Kevin emceed my fundraiser, went over. I was like, oh my god, this is it, the dream come true. Got there, didn't really like the musical theatre course I was doing. Like, I wasn't really that into like it. And then my dad passed. Like, the place I was staying was like falling to pieces. Like, Kevin came to stay with me for an audition, and he said, and then he cried and like rang his friends and was like, I don't think I can move to London because I don't want to live in like the hole that PJ's in. So then I was like, nothing works out in life like you want it to. I was like, this, like, life is meaningless. This is shit, but I can't go home because I feel like it would be like a failure. Yeah. And I stayed for a few years, and it got better and better. And obviously, like, I was like working in like restaurants and stuff, trying to find. I went through a phase where I like just really didn't know who I was, like was unsure of who I was, and then I slowly started to like find myself again, like get more confident, start dancing like the way I wanted to, and like I think. But then I was like, but then I always look back on that and I go, was that all the like the kind of fire of the first year in London, and like the kind of all the stuff that happened at once? Oh, also I came out that year as well, so like there was like a huge thing. So I was like, is this everything, or is it just literally early 20s? I was like, is it a specific experience for me when I was, because of all like the trauma and all the change that happened that year, or is it literally just because I was 20 and I was my early 20s finding myself? Because when I got to like 24, 25, I was kind of like, okay, yes, let's go. And then like I was like loving it, and then me and Kevin kind of reconnected and we were having a skit. So like I wasn't really grand for the first 3 years, definitely. Kind of 4 and 5 started to get better.
God, that's a long time to even be kind of suffering in that sense. Oh, he's gone again. Look, he's looking down.
I know. I don't know what's wrong with his Wi-Fi. Usually it's good.
But it's a long time. Even 3 years is hard. Like I mean, even from what you're saying, it sounded like such a transitional period for you, and huge life changes.
Yeah.
You know, to have to go through that. And that's an early age. Oh, are we back?
He's back.
We're back in.
I can't believe that. I don't know why that just keeps happening, and I'm at home by myself.
That's mad. Sometimes though, they might be doing like roadworks or like.
I think they're doing something. They're always doing something in Stratford, honestly.
We were just saying for PJ, it's like it's quite a traumatic period of his life to go through at such an early age as well. Like I think there's definitely different phases of your life that are traumatizing in different ways. And I kind of like, I think that even the word traumatizing can be like thrown around loosely, but it really actually, it's very personal. It's a very deep one. Like, did you have periods, Kevin, where you were not grand, but telling your mum that you were grand as well?
I remember my final year when I was studying over here was like a big one, because I dropped out of UCC to like do the whole dancing thing. So I always felt like, you know, the stakes were high, and at the back of my mind, to be honest, the whole time I came over, I was like, am I making the biggest like mistake in my life? And then it was in that final year, it was like a time when we were doing like agent showcases, and you know, we were having extra rehearsals at the weekend for shows and stuff. And I like wasn't really able to work, because that was the one thing when I did move over, I was kind of working the whole time, like in the evenings and the weekend. And then I kind of always, because I'm so stubborn, like even though my mom and dad probably would have been happy to give me money, I was always like, I'm going to make this happen by myself. And I never really wanted to have to ask them for money. So it was in like my last few months before graduation, and I was kind of like, Jesus Christ, am I having second thoughts about the whole thing now when I'm near the end? And I remember the people who were in my class, like when I was in UCC, they were all graduating, or they were on their Erasmus year in France. And I was like, look at them having the time of their lives. And I'm over here, like, with my, like, I used to work next door to a Subway, but the fella who owned the gaff owned the two of them. So at the end of the shift, I used to take home the meatballs from the Subway that were left over at the end of the day, you know, from the meatball marinara. And I used to put that in with pasta, and that's what I used to eat Friday and Saturday, Sunday in the evening. And I remember just being like, this isn't the life that I want to be living. Like, I want to be living champagne lifestyle, you know what I mean? So there was definitely a time that and my mom was going through a period of like really bad health at the time. She had kind of been diagnosed.
I was just about to say.
She'd been diagnosed with colon cancer at the time. And I remember thinking, Jesus Christ, like, do I need to go back? And the whole time then I was thinking, like I was kind of pushing for like the graduation show, because I wanted like my mum and dad to come over to see like the 3 years of work that I had done, and this is what I've kind of been doing. And then it turned out my mum was in such a bad way she couldn't make it over for the graduation. So I was in a bit of I was definitely lost as well, like in a way. Now my mum has like my mum also, by the way, she's been in remission for 5 years, so she's living the dream and she's all good. But there was, I think, you know what, for me as well, moving in with PJ, and I don't want to be getting too, again, like PJ knows how much I love him anyway, but there really was a sense of home that came with it.
Same.
And belonging, and like I remember, because PJ was kind of working at that point, and he was like doing, like, he had a good job in marketing and stuff. Even it was so nice when I moved in with PJ, like when I came at the weekend, PJ would be like, will I make us a brunch? And he'd go all out with the brunch and stuff and things like that. I was like, from then my life started to get like progressively better, like once I moved in with PJ. Now I had a friend, Emmett, as well, who was from Ireland as well, and I want to say life wasn't miserable when I was leaving with Emmett. Emmett was, you know, a real source of joy in my life as well, but just in case he listens to this and gets odd and thinks that I wasn't having fun, I absolutely loved him. But it was only when that I moved to PJ, and I was like, because as well, when I moved over, I lived in Essex first, and then I kind of thought I was moving to London because the nearest airport was called London Southend Airport. Now, I can tell you very much it was not London. There wasn't a single gay club or anything. And then when I moved to in with PJ, and we go out and we go to the gay clubs, and I was like, I'm thriving. I was like, this is the life I imagined.
Awesome. Yeah, I was the exact same. Like when Kevin moved, because he moved in and kind of lived on my couch for a bit, and like it was literally that sense of home, and like we'd be so there for each other, and it was a time where both of us were really exploring what it is to be queer as well. So we were like, we'd be there for each other, like when we're going to clubs and stuff, we'd be like, oh Jesus, I never knew the queers did that or whatever. And like, we had the debriefs then over brunch and stuff, and we really did, like, we were there for each other, because it is scary in like the big smoke, like.
When I lived with PJ, or before I lived with PJ, I'd always be like, sometimes, you know, you'd be checking yourself before a night out, and I'd be thinking, oh, do I look a bit too gay or whatever? When I moved in with PJ, the thing was, I'm like, oh, do I look gay enough? So we were going out, I was like, I don't look gay enough. I was like, make me look gayer. That was the vibe.
I love it. And so recently as well, I mean, obviously this has a graduation from your friendship into the podcast, but you guys recently went on tour as well, Glory Hole, and I was dying to get to see it, and I didn't get to see it, so I'm gutted actually. So I'm just wondering, have you plans to go on tour again, or can you give us like an idea of what the tour was about?
I have PTSD there when you mentioned, are you going on tour again? I feel like we only just came off the back of it. And the thing is, I mean, we were testing and stuff the whole time. Because it was like in the thrust of COVID there at one point again. I was like, is this COVID? Is it exhaustion? Is this my body telling me stop? Because we were kind of, especially when we did a few dates in Dublin there, we did a load back to back, and it's kind of short because we both have like a dance background, basically. There's dancing in it, and we kind of went with the whole theme of religion, and we basically explored like the different like landmarks for, like, you know, when you're growing up Catholics, we talk about the baptism, and we talked about communion, confirmations, we talked about then Act 2, then it goes into wedding, in which we're wearing full gorgeous custom made
wedding dresses,
Eamon McGill wedding dresses.
Wow.
We talk about funeral at the end and stuff, so we had an absolute ball, and like definitely like to think that more live dates in the future, but
awesome.
Not the immediate future, Hilary.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
but
we need a bit of a break.
It was such a laugh though, but I do think we did like 9 nights back to back. No, it was like one day off or something, back to back in Dublin. And there was one day we went out the night before, and we had to do a show the next day, and we were in the dressing room, and me and Kevin were just looking at each other, and we were like,
we didn't even talk to each other, did we?
No, we were like, we're just gonna have to pull it together. But then when you got on stage, it was grand, and obviously, but it's because it's not a sit down live podcast, it's like a full on, we're on our feet, like it's like more of like a stand-up kind of show. So, and a lot of it, like, we have a structure, but a lot of it was like improv and stuff. But that day we definitely stuck to the structure.
We stuck to the script. We were like,
I was like, if you go off book tonight, I'm not going to be able to know where to go. I'm too hungover.
And also I was like, when we were doing the shows, I was like, oh my God, we've taken on way too much. And then Joanne McNally was adding another gig and another gig and another gig. And she was going, oh, I'm doing 100 more shows. And I was going, am I just ill-equipped?
We're like, we're not doing enough.
Oh, that's Joanne's amazing. She's a machine though. She's a machine at the moment.
I don't know how she's doing all those dates.
Yeah. And also we're trying to not trying not to compare myself to people, because otherwise I just freak out and I'll be like crazy.
100%. Yeah, 100%. You're doing your thing, and improv is awesome as well. Like, I did improv for years, and it's brilliant. It really formed me as a performer and as an actor. Actually, it really, really, really helped me as an actor. but it's tricky. My God, like whatever about having a stand-up set, and I know that like stand-up is very fluid in the night and in the moments anyway, but improv it will make or break you very fast. Very, very fast.
Accept and build, free thinking, yes and.
Yeah, exactly.
We did the crash course, Hilary, on YouTube.
Look, anytime we ever do anything, like, because at the beginning, like, obviously Kevin, like, done more acting, like, than me, because he stayed in dance college, like, MT college, and I dropped out. Well, so he'd be like, we'd be doing something, he'd be like, Peter, you have to do yes and then I'd be like, yeah, okay. So now every time we do anything, I'm like, yes and, Kevin, come on, let's go.
Yeah, you have to, because if someone says no or shuts you down, you're like, well, it's gone nowhere. We're done.
Gone nowhere, yeah.
We're done. I'm going to ask you a question. It's probably going to make you sweat, but but I love asking this question. What's your 5-year plan?
So, will I go first? Okay, so
I don't
have one, because I don't know, is this a response to like my youth or whatever, but like I'm not like going to unpack anything, but like every time I've ever tried to plan anything, it's never worked out. So like I used to be someone, especially when in my late teens, when I was in Cork and I was like doing all these dance classes and like all this stuff, and like saw my life so cleared out. I was like, this is my 5-year plan, like boom, 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 and then it all just blew up when I went to London. So I was like, ever since then, I'm against 5-year plans really, because obviously I have like goals.
It don't work.
Yeah, me. I just be chilling. No, but like I obviously have goals and things I want to do. But my main thing now is more about just like being happy in my day to day. And I know that sounds kind of live, laugh, love, but like it's like that's literally it. Because and there are things I need to have in place, like a stable income, like fulfilled in my career, to be able to be happy in my day to day. But I don't really have like, in 5 years I want to have a house, 1.2 children, and a fucking dog.
At 1.2.
That's what people say, you know. But like that's not. So I don't have one, which could be kind of chaos, but it's working out for me this far, so I don't mind.
I love that. I'm going to come to you, Kevin, in a sec as well, but I'm the same. I was very much had my life planned so strictly and like controlled it so strictly, and like you said, it blew up. It completely blew up. And for me then, and this is only like, you figured it out much younger, like, but for me, I only figured out in the last couple of years that I have to go with the flow and just let it flow. And so much comes to you in that flow, in that moment, rather than going, because it's an expectation, I guess, you place. And once you place an expectation on something, then you're setting yourself up for failure. Or not failure necessarily, but setting yourself up for even disappointment, you know, because even if you achieve what you thought the expectation might be, you might find yourself in a position where it's still disappointing, you know? So what do you reckon, Kevin? What, like, are you similar to PJ in that respect, or have you got a different?
I am definitely, because we actually have been asked about like our 5-year plans and stuff before. And I think people are almost, you know, sometimes disappointed that we don't have one, because what we were speaking for something, and was it a motivational type podcast or something? Yeah. And we were like, oh no, we're like 5-year plan out the window, because again, it's like the thing, like, you know, I was a major nerd in school, and like when I was going off to UCC, I was like, I was doing business with French, and I was like, I'm gonna be working for like, you know, Central Bank Paris or doing something. And then I was like, nah, no thanks. Not for me. So it was kind of like I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now if I kind of did have a plan and was like kind of following that structure. So I would like, just because if I ever have a think about the amount of money I've been spending on rent, I get a tuck in my heart. Like, if you think about the amount of money I spent on rent since moving here, I'd actually don't want to know. So I would like, and a load of my friends are at the age now, a lot of them are in couples, so it's a bit easier. But they'd be like, we're doing the rent to buy, or we're doing the first time buyer, and I'm going, what's the nice and I'm like, I think I need to at least come to terms with like the possibility of maybe getting out. I mean, if you're to look at my bank account now, you go, Kevin, are you taking the fucking piss? You're in no position, you know what I mean? I'm going to a festival there now this weekend, and I'm trying to manage the finances for the rest of the month. But I would love some kind of a gaff. Also, I'd love to be able to do a handstand, proper handstand.
You can do a handstand.
But I can't hold it for that long. I want to be able to do handstand walks.
You're the only person who I know in real life who can hold a handstand for like longer than 5 seconds.
Wow.
I know, but I want to do the walks like the fellas at the gym, and then when their top kind of falls up, and then they be showing me the torso.
I think that's a very valid life goal. I think it's very, very
handstands. Handstands in a house. That's
handstands in houses, and that's the name of the
Also, I would love to deviate to telly. The thing is, we've been doing the podcast 3 years now. Would love to make the transition to screen, because look at us. We have what? Faces for telly. Well, I can speak for myself.
Oh, babe, she's ready for telly.
I think you're divine, both of you. And this was my question. So you asked me this question, so I'm going to ask you. You asked me, would I ever go on Dancing with the Stars? And what was my reply? I said, no, I'm sorry.
You said,
but you should.
You'd eat it up.
I've been asked a million times and I just can't bring myself to do it, right?
I think you'd be fab.
Why is it? Why not? Because of scheduling? Because you don't fancy yourself as a dancer?
I actually love dancing. I don't think I'm particularly good. I think I'd be good at, I'm good at training. I'm good at training and I'm good at fitness. I don't know if I can let go into a dance per se, which I think it's something that I have to learn. It's actually a big kind of vibe in my life at the moment, is about letting go and trusting. But for you guys, Dancing with the Stars, I did read in that article that I read about you that you would love to do Dancing with the Stars, but you wouldn't do it together.
Well, I would do it together. I would do it together, but you want to go solo, Kev, don't you?
What do you mean? We'd be the couple.
No, not the couple, but as in like
on
you'd be in the same competition.
On the same season, you know what? It probably would make for like good telly if we were like kind of going up against each other. But I kind of want to be the first same-sex couple on the Irish Dancing with the Stars.
Has it not been one?
There hasn't been one on the Irish one, I don't believe. There has been on
no way.
Strictly, but not on the Irish one yet. And I'd love if I had a fella boot me around the gaff.
Oh, not me, like the instructor.
Yeah, I'd love one of the actual, professional dancers. Now, you could obviously also do it as well, but I just think as well, it's just for the rig outs. I would love it for, the costumes.
I think that you guys would definitely get a spot on it.
I know, but would Middle Ireland be a bit trauma? Would they be a bit traumatized? They'd be like,
I think they're ready.
I think they're ready as well.
I think Strictly broke it.
Yeah.
And I think they're ready. I think you guys would. I'd watch it. I'd probably watch it only if you guys were on it. That's the truth.
I was home in Ireland for the final. It's so good. It's actually great. They produce it really well. I will say. I think it's done really, really well.
Yeah, because sometimes the Irish versions and stuff. Sometimes, especially like talent shows and stuff, you'd be like, oh, but like they actually they have a good budget, I presume, because it looks fab.
I think so, and I think you guys would be amazing on it because you can dance. Both of you are really good dancers. So like,
we'd have to play that down, Hilary, because you want to be the underdogs.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Will that go against us? Because they'd be like, well, they're professional dancers anyway.
Well, I just think it might up everyone's level. It might up the game a bit. Think of it that way,
PJ, you just need to really focus on your father's death in the first.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I'll wear a chain with his picture around my neck every performance. Yeah, he'd want me to win, so he'd be like,
he'd want you to win, so he'd be happy for you.
Any means necessary.
Okay, I'm going to give you a pop quiz. Actually, before I do that, I want to ask you. So, the podcast is called Live Wild, and it's all about living wild and free and connecting back into yourself. Yeah. This question is more about what's your ultimate idea of freedom?
Ooh, okay, right. Give me a second now.
Mine would be moving away from Ireland and from Cork and from growing up with the same people around me the whole time, and moving to London gave me this great sense of anonymity. You know what I mean? So I was able to, and there was so much freedom in that, especially because it came at a time when I was just after coming out as well. It allowed me to explore my gender identity more and my fashion sense and stuff. So there was great. So I do love as well. But now I'm kind of comfortable in London because I have my friendship groups and stuff. I suppose for me, ultimate freedom is kind of not caring. And sometimes I do catch myself thinking, oh, I'm not going to do that. Or even some things to do with the podcast as well. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that because what will someone think if we speak about this? Whereas I think I too, Hilary, need to let go a bit more and just think less about what people care. I can't remember who said it, but someone said before they dressed as if the world couldn't see them, or dress as if the world was blind because, you know, they just wear exactly what they want. And I'm like, that's actually, now also, if I'm putting a look together, I want people to be able to see it. So, you know, I'm kind of, that's a bit of an internal struggle. But yeah, I think it's for me not caring about what people think is freedom.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of, that's kind of where I was going as well. I was like, because at first I was like, a beach, but I'm like, no, shut up. I was like it's not like a physical place. It isn't. Like, freedom for me as well is like being able to just go about your life in a way that like you're not letting external influences influence your like decisions on stuff because you're afraid, basically. So like, if I want to release a dance video in the morning, I'm not like thinking, oh, but people who used to dance with me are going to think I'm shit now. Or like, if I want to, like, if me and Kevin want to do a music video for a song we might be recording, people aren't going to be like, what are they? If we want to wear a cat suit, they're not going to be like, why are the lads trying to be pop stars? I'm like, we're just like, feck it, we can do what we want. So having that mentality, but it is that like, it is hard to do that because some days I wake up and I'm like the most confident person in the world, and then some days I go wake up, look at myself in the mirror and be like, oh, I hate myself and everybody hates me, and like, so like, you just have to like train yourself. It's a training exercise. It's a practice. Yeah, it's a practice.
Yeah, it is a practice.
Yeah.
I get the same. I look in the mirror and I go, I'm so old. That's my latest thing recently. I'm like, I'm so old. I look so old. And then I put makeup on. I'm like, oh, it's not that bad. It's actually not that bad, guys. I just had to, it was a panic moment. I feel like you were giving us a taster there of possibly what's to come. It was just from Kevin's expression. Was there is there possibly a song? Or
okay, I can't really hold it in. I've been coming in contact with, I've been playing them a sample of it. Basically, we were like, what are we going to do when we're coming back with the next season of the podcast? And we usually do a big kind of like teason video, and we do like promo. The last time what we did was we jumped out of a plane and we went skydiving.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like season 5, now landing, whatever. So we're like, how are we going to top that? And then basically we recorded a pop song, and it's called Fast Lane. It's a bit of a bop. Is it called Fast Lane?
We don't. It's working title, but I'm thinking Fast Lane as well.
But I'm thinking by the time this is out as well, P, we're good.
Yeah, no, but I mean, is it called Life in the Fast Lane or Fast Lane?
No, I think it's better Fast Lane.
I think just Fast Lane as well. I was thinking, I was actually going to talk to you about this after the pod, so it's good that we're just clearing it up now.
But Hilary, it's we recorded, and the thing is, it's so funny because it was kind of PJ was like, will we just record a song? And then I was kind of like, oh, are we singers? And then PJ kept going, you can sing. And I was kind of like, I felt like the weight of it was on me. Then we got to the studio and PJ was going, so I've got places to fit. And he's doing this whole rap section at the start. And yeah, it's gonna be a good one. We're really excited about it.
God, yeah, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, so we're living our childhood fantasies. Like, I literally all I wanted to be growing up was like a pop star. So like when we were recording it, I was literally like a child at Disneyland. Like, I was so giddy. And it's a bop. The producer Adam was so sound. He's from Dublin. Well, I don't know if he's from Dublin, but he lives there. When we got it back, I just couldn't stop playing it. It's about
yeah.
Can you play it? Would you give us a sample?
We can play the chorus or something, P?
Maybe
oh my God, please do. This is a world exclusive.
It's an exclusive, but also it's
about, internet's gone again.
It's about how gays walk quicker than straight people.
I love that.
Yeah. So it's a parody. Okay. I don't know. I think because we got places to be and people to see. That's a lyric in the song.
I love it. Oh my goodness. This is a world exclusive. So are you calling yourselves I'm Grand Mam as a pop group?
Yeah, okay, I think so. Just for now. I was like, will we do Kevin and PJ? But like, we'll do that for the Eurovision.
Oh, I could so see at the Eurovision.
I'm like, give us the Eurovision. Come on now. Like,
look, if this is going to be a banger, then I could do a song for the Eurovision, 100%. Yeah. Dancing with the Stars first.
Okay.
Because then you get your stage, you get your numbers up, and you get your stage presence and all that. Well, you have the stage presence already, because I know that, because I've met you in person. Mm-hmm. But you get your routine down, and then you translate it into a wider audience, and then it goes to
Eurovision.
Oh, he's back again. He's gone and he's back.
Basically, we'll send it to you when it's properly done, because we only got the first mix back yet, so we don't have like the actual finished version. But I think if Kevin has it there, I don't have it on. Oh yeah,
will I just bring up the guys? I can't believe I got kicked off again.
I know, it's just there's something in the ether that's just saying stop this.
Only 5 seconds now. You're only getting 5 seconds. Sorry, I have to be a stickler.
Okay, but I am happy with that.
Because Kevin's playing it for every Tom, Dick and Harry, and I'm like, babe, you're gonna have to save something for the lunch. We played it for a swim class the other day. I was teaching I teach a dance class every Saturday in Liffey Trust, and I was like, will I pay for them? And I was like, no, we don't want to give it away too early. And Kevin, I paid it for my swim class.
I can't keep it in. It's too much of a bob with it.
Okay.
We can't really hear it.
Can't hear it.
We can't really hear it. What we'll do is at that point I'll just send you the track and you can overlay it a small bit.
Awesome. Oh my god, I'm so excited for you guys. So when are you planning to release this?
So we're shooting the music video on the 13th, and then we're going to try and release it like 2 days later.
That's unreal. Oh my god, that's fast.
Yeah, we're buzzing about it. Yeah,
Wow.
we got it done. We were like what, 8 hours in the studio when we recorded it, and then we were like,
not a morsel of
get
food
it out there. Not a morsel of food, not even a coffee. We were recording, and then I was like, I really need, like, I hadn't had a coffee all day, and you know, Mammy needs her coffee halfway through the day. And there was no mention of a tea or coffee break, and we were loving Adam's work ethic, but at the same time we were like, baby, the stars need a break.
We were like, we love how much of an artist you are, but we're going to have to. And then we didn't, and then we just recorded the whole way through. We got home that night, and we were doing like a live
famished.
We were doing like a live planning episode with the Patreon people who subscribe to our Patreon for the next podcast. Like, what do you want to see in the next season of I'm Grand Mam kind of thing? And just beforehand, we were like scoffing the dinner into our mouths. We got on the call, we were like this.
You're like collapsing on the couch.
Yeah.
Guys, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do a quick fire round. This is inspiration from what you did with me, right? Which is a quick fire round at the end of the podcast that we did.
Called How Hippie is Hilary.
It wasn't that what it was called?
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
Let's give it its full title.
How hippie is Hilary? Hilary is pretty hippie.
I think we got
highly
100% hippie at the end of the round.
What did I get? What percentage?
I think you got 100%.
I think it was 100%. Actually, 106.
Do I get extra points now for the tree pot being buried in a tree? Yeah.
That's those extra 6.
Okay, so this is the Live Wild quiz. What is the wildest thing you've ever done?
Okay.
Kevin.
My head is immediately going to the dark rooms in Maspalomas in Gran Canaria, but because my mum could potentially be listening to the podcast, one time we went on a tragic school tour in transition year, and we went skiing in Slovakia. It wasn't glamour. I was thinking, oh my God, chalets on the piste. It was none of the above. It was tragic. Anyway, I got an air of confidence in the last day and decided to do one of the black slopes. I think that's probably actually the mad, and I actually got such a rush off it. Now, I shouldn't have been doing the black slope whatsoever. I was in no capacity, or it was my first time ever skiing. I should not have been doing it, but it was the thrill of a lifetime.
Wow. Was that a similar thrill to dark rooms?
No, if I was to have to do one of them again, I would opt for the dark rooms.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. So is dark rooms where you go in and you don't know?
It's pretty self-explanatory.
Basically, everyone's naked and they're all having sex.
Wow.
Now, not saying I went in there intentionally. At the time, I actually stumbled across it unintentionally. And I didn't know what was happening because it was en route to the bathrooms, and I turned on the torch on my iPhone, and then someone slapped it out of my hand and broke the screen of my phone, and I was like, what's going on here?
Well, maybe you were shining a torch on someone in the dark room. They were going to hit it out of your hands.
And so did you just stumble out of your clothes in that moment as well?
Yeah, and into a fella.
Yeah, my the vest that I was wearing, actually, something happened. There must have been huge gale force winds that kind of swept off me.
Oh my God, PJ, what's the wildest thing you've ever done?
I was trying to think, and to be honest, right, I'm like rubber arms. So like it's actually worrying how like I could get myself into these situations that could be considered wild by everyone, because I just everyone be like, do you want to do that? And I'd be like, yeah. Like I'm so like, okay,
you're crazy. Are you kind of crazy?
Like, it's like, as in like I should be
local.
No, but I should be better. I should be better at like boundaries, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But like I'm trying to think what would be like seen as wild. Like this was kind of reckless, and like it's sex themed as well. So like don't listen, ma'am. So avert your ears. But basically, I was working in a restaurant in Camden, in London.
I was going there.
Yeah, but I can't think of anything else. And basically, I was texting this guy off Tinder that night, and he was like, he was like, where are you? I'm in Camden. And I was like, oh, I work. And I was a supervisor in the restaurant at the time. And I was like, even if she's doing the supervisor role in the restaurant, she's doing her role, but she's still having fun. And then I was cashing up and everyone was gone. And he was like, oh, I'm only around for the night. And I was like, oh, just call in here. So I snuck him into the restaurant. And we had sex on the table in the restaurant.
Can we please say the name of the restaurant?
No, because I'll get a lot.
You'll get what?
Sued, babe.
You won't get sued. You can have sex in a restaurant.
Anyway, then we went downstairs afterwards because he was like, okay, bye. And I was like, do you want to make sundaes? And then we went down to the kitchen afterwards and made ice cream sundaes. It was cute.
Oh my God, best night ever.
Yeah,
best night of your life.
I love it.
That was a bit wild because as well, they had cameras in the restaurant. But I don't think they checked them. And I think at that stage, I was very much like, I'm leaving anyway. I don't care. You know, I was leaving the job anyway.
You got fired, babe. Just be honest. You got fired, baby.
I didn't get fired, actually.
For stealing sundaes from the kitchen.
There's probably more wild things where I don't know. I can't
See,
really
I'm actually, PJ's saying he's pretty wild and he's a rubber arm. I'm pretty mild.
No, but you kind of have a rubber arm as well. Like I'd be like I'd be like, even for, like we were out that one night. I know this is kind of very like, oh, we're crazy, but like I was like getting the jacuzzi and you just jumped in the jacuzzi with loads of randoms.
But that's like, who wouldn't jump on a jacuzzi if there's one in a nightclub on a night out?
Well, I'm sure we got gonorrhea from it. It's me.
Yeah.
Like we want to have sex that night.
Jacuzzi.
Yeah.
That was a rough week.
It was definitely the jacuzzi got
the club. No, but the club jacuzzi is like crawling.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Your man can't listen to this, Kevin, because I'm giving very don't tell mom energy here.
I'm very open about everything. I'm an open book.
Okay, another question. Do you believe in magic?
When I was younger, I couldn't stop watching Charmed and those girls like I go to the grave for. I don't know. I don't think like I always struggle because I'm not really religious, so I don't believe in like ghosts and stuff.
Because religion is all about ghosts.
But like I don't believe in like I believe like when people die they like are dead, right? But then I'm like, do I really believe that? Because I'm terrified of spirits at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm like, oh yeah, I think when people like pass away, they're gone. But then I'm also like, you can't like get rid of someone's energy, like it just transfers to something else. So then I don't know. I don't know, basically. I want to say no because I want to be logical and I don't believe in magic, but I kind of do, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I believe in magic. But was obsessed with magic as well growing up. Got a magic kit one Christmas and I used to charge my friends to come and watch me put on a magic show.
I think that's more of a performance rather than magic.
That was a performance. I became an altar server actually because I love the performance element.
I do
being on stage.
Yeah. I do believe that like the planets affect people. So like when I'm feeling like really anxious, it's usually when Mercury's in retrograde kind of.
I do believe in on all the stuff to do with the moon. Like typically, because I sleep really well, typically I'll know that if I have a bad night's sleep, there's a full moon or something's happening because we're 70% water and the moon controls the tide. I completely buy into that, but I don't think that's magic. I think that's actually science, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, in astrology. But I think sometimes when you dive back into like the older versions of science and astrology and alchemy and all those things, that we're very hell-bent in this era on proving things, you know. And sometimes magic doesn't need to be, in my mind, sometimes it doesn't need to be proven, it just is. It's like if we can switch off the logical brain a little bit and just trust and believe. Yeah, that's my wish.
And I think that's what me and Kevin would struggle with because we're very logical thinkers. So like even like I talk to my boyfriend now, he'd be on about crystals and fucking like I act a certain way because I'm a Capricorn. I'm like feck off, but like I kind of see your point as well. But it's because my brain, like I have to like switch off that logical brain, I think.
Yeah, it's like we have to, and we're programmed that way. We're programmed to understand, like the ego is programmed to understand why things work the way they do because it's just the way we've been raised, and it's but yeah. Without magic, we're perfect.
Do you believe in magic? You do, obviously, yeah.
I do, yeah. And it's only been in the last couple of years again that's kind of come up for me. Yeah, I believe really strongly in it. But it's funny because magic, even the term magic has this kind of almost innocent or childish element to it, where it's like, oh, you believe in magic? Well, that's a bit silly, you know. But I've seen things that I can't not believe in magic. Magic is kind of the loose term that I have for spirit, I suppose.
Yeah.
or some people call it God, or some people call it universe, or whatever you might want to call it. You know what I mean? Like people call it different things. So it's like,
I'm quite spiritual, and I love my yoga. And when my yoga teacher would give me my mantra on the Monday, you best believe I am repeating it tens and tens of times throughout my week. So I am spiritual, and it does work for me.
And as well, I do believe in I do believe when we never met you until that day we interviewed you at that festival. But the minute we met you, I could feel your energy, and like I was just like, this is going to be grand. Like whereas like you can meet someone then and you feel their energy and you're like, oh shit. So is that magic? You know what I mean?
Well, it's part of it. I mean, you mentioned earlier you being an empath. It's part of that. Like you can feel, like everybody can, by the way. It's not just PJ here, or like it's like you can feel and sense energy.
Though, am I? I'm kind of like.
No, empathy is actually listed as. But sometimes I ask my friends and they say empathy is my greatest quality. So yeah.
Can we get a list of those friends?
Michelle.
Never heard of Michelle in my life, by the way.
Michelle. Yeah. So yeah, you can sense energy. You know, if you walk into a party, and you go, oh, there's I don't know, there's just something not quite right here. I'm gonna stay 5 minutes and go, and then you're gone. That's you being able to sense energy. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like everyone can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Seeing as we were on the topic earlier about religion, and it was part of your show. I have a question here which is tied in so perfectly. Seeing as you do you believe in the ultimate mam, which is the Virgin Mary? Do you believe in the Virgin Mary? Do you pray to her?
I believe.
And seeing as it was part of your show as well.
Yeah, there was probably a woman who existed like called Mary. Maybe was she even called Mary? Or was that like the whitewash version of her? I don't know. But basically, I don't believe in that kind of religion, so no.
I do. It's actually really weird you say it, because when I used to be mad for praying when I was younger, and I was an altar server, and I was very close to my nan as well, who would always mind us on a Saturday night, and like bedtime prayers were always part of my thing. Now I don't think I'm an anomaly. I think a lot of people my age growing up might have been a thing for it, but I kind of kept it going. I'd say till about the age of 15, and I remember that at one point in secondary school being a bit mortified. But I think it wasn't out of religion, but more so like this closeness to my nan. Mm-hmm. I felt like I'd be letting her down if I was to stop saying my prayers, that kind of thing. But I used to always pray to the Virgin Mary, was kind of where I mostly directed my prayers. But now I'm like, I don't know. I think there's like historians who say that, you know, that there was, you know, Jesus around that time, and like he had the Mother Mary. Am I as firm a believer in the Immaculate Conception and all that kind of buzz? Yeah. I don't know, you know. Yeah. But again, see, my mum is still so religious and stuff, and we spoke about religion on the podcast before, and I was thinking, I was like, I can never go home to Cork.
Yeah, my mum's so religious.
Love the Virgin Mary. Love her. Mary girl, you're living. We love it. Do
you believe in Mary?
You know, it's funny because I was raised Catholic as well, and raised in, like, I wouldn't say a very religious household, but like, yeah, there was a lot of faith. And but I came to the same thing when I was like 14, 15, going, there's too many loopholes in this. Like, if the Immaculate Conception is on December 16th and he was born on December 25th, that's either a very long gestation period or a very short gestation period. So I was really getting into that kind of stuff of it. I was like, did the body and blood actually transfer into like the Eucharist? Like I was really, really, really searching really deeply. So I really abandoned all of that because I couldn't find the logical answers that I wanted in it. I just couldn't. And then so again, kind of in recent years, it's not like I'm not back in church. I'm not like, I didn't even expect this podcast to go here today, but I wouldn't, like, yes, I was raised Catholic, but I'm not saying like, oh, I'm out now Catholic again, or I've revisited. But there's something about Jesus and Mary and the work that they did. And I don't know, like, I do believe that they were real people. Like, but there's something about the work that they did, which is kind of coming back into my life now. And I can't even really fully explain it. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting. Yeah. And my dad's favorite prayer was the Memorare, which is a prayer to the Virgin Mary. So since he passed away, I've been saying that just because it was his favorite prayer. So it's given me great comfort, even though prior to that, I couldn't even remember. I couldn't tell you the last time I said a prayer, you know?
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
funny how it's kind of comes back in to your life. And I have faith rather than faith in a religion.
I know what you
That makes
mean.
sense.
Yeah, because I'd be searching for that sometimes. You'd be like, I'm like, I don't really believe in anything, but I wouldn't say I'm an atheist kind of vibe. I also feel like there's some form of faith, but so there's like a bit of me inside that's like, no, there's something like they can't all be for nothing. But then the pessimist to me is like, or not they're more the realist, it's not really pessimism. It's more like there's not, you know. But like, I don't know. I suppose we'll find out when we go.
That's exactly
what's
it.
the story.
Okay, so I have another question. Oh, my notes just went arseways. They're back again. Okay. Is Kevin gone?
Yeah.
He's gonna miss the question. Might come back into it. Okay, here. What do you stand for?
What do I stand for? Okay, so that's just a very like weighted question. But
yeah, we're going deep.
The way I, like, it's more about the way I kind of like live my life is that and what I would stand for is that like everybody, you're back. So we've been asked what do we stand for.
I've gone deep.
Oh.
So we're gone deep.
Yeah.
So, and I was saying, for me, it's like, it's about kind of the way I kind of try and live my life. And what I would say I would stand for is that like everybody is going through their own struggles, and like, no, and the struggle for them is like the worst struggle in the world. So like, say, no, if someone like had a privileged life, but they're going through a hard time, it's the same as someone who had like, they can't equate. The struggle is the same for both, but it's just on different levels. You know what I mean? So I always try and, no matter who I meet, try and be as kind and nice to them as I can, because I feel like life is really hard, basically, and that's something I stand for. And I think at the root of that, it kind of goes back to like my mom and the way I was raised, but it's like, try and like go through life like leading with your heart and being compassionate and show love, because it is like, life is really hard. And there is loads of times when I've obviously been like mean to people and been like a bitch, but like that's the times when I like kind of like not fail, but like I kind of like lose sight of my values and like what I stand for, basically. But yeah, so it's like everyone's going through their own struggles, so be nice to everyone and kind of lead with your heart, and like don't let the world harden you, basically. It's like,
that's beautiful. Yeah, that's really beautiful. So lovely. Now, Kevin, it's up to you now.
Not to take it back to religion, but it is that kind of idea of like, because I think there are certain things like that I have definitely taken from religion, you know, whether I care to admit it or not. But like the idea of, you know, love thy neighbor as thyself kind of vibes, right? But it is like, and that what it essentially that is, that's just a stem of, you know, kindness and being kind to everyone, because, and also being kind to myself, because we had this really, really interesting conversation, which I'm not sure if you've listened to it. It's in our back catalogue if you wanted to take a look. But it was like a kindness coach. It was actually our friend Sharu Azadi, and it's about like being kind to yourself, because we, you know, a lot of us, like typically, because a lot of us tend to be nice people, we do look after our friends, and even people like who can't do anything for us, like the stranger in the street. Typically, a lot of us like would be more empathetic and would look after them and be nice to them. But sometimes I think we don't treat ourselves with the same amount of kindness. So I think it is that. I think it's just like, and I also find that like, in those instances, especially when it's testing, because anyone can be nice to, you know, the server at the restaurant or the cashier at the Morrison's or fucking Tesco's. But it's like, you know, in those instances where, you know, your patience is being tested and stuff, and you're kind of going, I don't know, there might be a really rude fucking, I mean, I used to work in a cafe, and I regret it now, but also it wasn't, I wasn't being too mean, but if anyone was ever rude to me, I used to give them decaf. But then, like, since I've kind of realized, I'm like, oh, actually, those people coming in who were rude to me, they weren't rude because they're probably not. They could don't get me wrong, there probably are pricks out there, but they're probably going through something that morning. So it's probably best just to be like, you know,
yeah.
I think that's where I'm like really tested. It's easy to be kind to people, but in those instances where there's like people who are fucking buggers,
give them decaf.
Even kindness is a good one.
Give them decaf. I'm going to share a story with you I've never said publicly. So I used to work in restaurants as well. And I had that thing of like, that table, there's just a table of fucking pricks. You know? And sometimes they just are, even if they're having a bad day or not, you're just like, oh my God. And so I used to go down, serve them, fart at the table, and walk off.
Farting on command, I love it.
Leave it with them so that they'd be like looking at each other. Like,
you like this?
Love. Yeah, sometimes you do, like, karma doesn't work quick enough sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I gave them their karma. Right. I served their karma to them right there.
Yeah,
brilliant. That you earned your I'm Grand Mam mug that you're drinking from.
Yeah, I love it. I love this merch. I absolutely love it.
Are you going to do a Live Wild mug? Because we want to be sent them.
If I am, you'll be the first people to get it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We'll hold you to it.
Absolutely. Guys, it has been an absolute pleasure. It has been the crack, and it's just such a joy, and I'm so glad and I'm so happy, and I really appreciate you doing this. So thank you so much.
Pleasure was all ours. Thanks so much.
So nice. I loved it. I'm buzzing now after that.
Can't wait to listen to all the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to record them yet.
Quick, record them. I need to do a podcast on my walks.
Guys, thanks a million. It's been an absolute joy.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Hilary.
Bye.
Bye.